Okay, so Bitcoin is about to surge higher. So let's talk about it. This is the Hey Ed YouTube channel. I am your host, moderator, and all-around nice guy, Edward Anderson. Now, on a video like this, it is important for me to say that I'm not a financial advisor, so do not construe anything that I mention in any of my videos as financial advice. Always do your own research before doing anything with your money. All right, so let's get right to it. In this video, I'm going to tell you why I expect Bitcoin and XRP and XEN and several other cryptos to make all-time highs. I think there's a surge coming, and I think it is imminent. Okay, so in order for me to make my case, I do need to lay a little groundwork here for context, okay? Okay, so when I was a trading instructor, one of the first lessons that I would teach my students is what makes a stock, primarily an equities trader, or anything for that matter, go up in price or down in price. What moves the price of the product that you're trading? And it's not what most people think. And the one thing that makes anything move in price is buying pressure. I don't care whether you're talking about real estate, stocks, cryptos, commodities, it doesn't matter. Fundamentals really do not matter. The only thing that does matter is buying pressure. If there are more buyers than sellers, it goes up. More sellers than buyers, it goes down, period. So why people, why the street is buying or selling anything is really secondary. All I really need to know is that it is moving. And I see that in the charts. So you really need to learn how to read charts if you're going to be any kind of a trader. So another important lesson to know if you're going to be a trader is that all markets are made up of human beings, okay? And since human beings are emotional creatures, the markets are never going to be rational. They're always going to be emotional. So if you can learn how to read the emotions inside of a chart, you've got a huge advantage. Less than a week ago, we had a very big international event that put a stress test on the markets, and it really revealed the strength in the underlying markets. Now, that event was that last week, the U.S. bombed the nuclear reactor sites in Iran. And they did it on the weekend, and they did it for a reason on the weekend. They did it on the weekend expecting that it would affect the markets. And sure enough, the initial reactions were negative. And I did a video on this last Sunday where I told you that I thought the market would need at least 2 or 3 days to decide what the real effects of this is going to be in the overall market. Okay, so when there is a big headline news announcement, I really look to the markets to decide whether it's good news or bad news. I look for the reaction to the market. It's never about the news. It's about the reaction to the news. And I told you in last Sunday's video that the markets didn't seem to be taking the news that badly. And because the stock market was closed when this event happened, I looked at the cryptos for some clues, because cryptos trade 24/7. And yes, Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP, they have sold off. But I told you guys that they didn't sell off that much. They were very mild sell-offs. And also there was a pop in oil futures that even that didn't last very long. So I anticipated that the market was not going to take this news that badly. So while the mainstream news was touting, worries over World War III happening, it turned out to be a whole lot of nothing. So in terms of that event, from what I can see, it's a non-event. The market as a whole, in aggregate, they're voting. They're voting with their money, right? And people take their money very seriously. So when Monday morning rolled around, not only were the markets not down, but they were actually up on the day. So what I want to do here is show you first what the equities market did, but then we'll transition over to the cryptos, primarily Bitcoin. And I'll show you why Bitcoin is about to make a new high and go higher. So let's go to the charts. Okay, so this is the 1-month chart on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and you'll see here what happened here on the 23rd. Okay, so the markets did go lower there very, very briefly, but then it closed much higher. And then the next day, on Tuesday, look what the market did. It really popped, sold off a little bit yesterday, and now today, as I'm recording this, the market is up almost 400 points with about 30 minutes left here in the trading day today. But that's a 1-month chart, but let's take a look at the 3-month chart. Okay. Now, if you look back almost 3 months, you see that big sell-off there in early April. This was on the tariff concerns, right? And you see that didn't last very long. Now, if you look over the past 2 months here, you see this 4,300 level. It might be kind of hard here for you to see it, so I'll draw a line here for you. But that's a nice double top, which literally today it is just starting to stick its head above. Now, that was a very important technical resistance level, and we're punching through it. But also, take a look at this channel that the market's put in the past about 6 weeks. I mean, once we got through this chaos back here in early April, the market really has settled down, settled in. Okay, so what does the stock market have to do with Bitcoin? Well, I'll tell you, they do influence each other, okay? Remember, the entire crypto space is minuscule compared to the stock market, and it's microscopic compared to the bond market, okay? So the crypto market is tiny by comparison. So this whole business about trading is psychology. And you can draw inferences between markets depending on what they're doing, because they will influence each other. Okay, so another thing I used to teach my trading students was what I call the theory of relativity. That became an edism. In my class, it became a lot of edisms, okay, rules of thumb about trading, tricks of the trade, if you will. And the theory of relativity states that whenever a stock or a crypto or whatever it is that you're trading does something other than what it should be doing, it makes that move even more significant. So when we had this, potentially devastating news event last weekend, and Bitcoin did not sell off very much, that was a real clue for me. Because if there were really bad news, if the market were going to take it, really badly, it should have sold off a lot more than it did. And Bitcoin got below the $100,000 level, but just by a little bit, and it stayed there for I don't know how long, not very long at all. But let's take a look at what it has done this week. Okay, that's the 1-day chart. Let's look at the 1-week chart. And yeah, see this red here? That was the weekend. Then this entire week has been steadily working its way higher. So now it's trading at 107,000 already. So let's take a look at the 1-year chart. And you can see that Bitcoin is on the verge of making a new high. So Bitcoin right now is on the verge of a very important psychological resistance level. If Bitcoin can close above like 109-ish, within the next few days, you are going to see some FOMO kick in on this guy. Now, in order to respect your time, I'm not going to go into all of the, the fundamental stuff, like the fact that we have legislation coming out now that's going to codify cryptos a lot more. You have all sorts of hedge funds now adopting Bitcoin. Banks are now going to be allowed to, store Bitcoin. There are a lot of fundamental reasons why Bitcoin is becoming popular. But more important than all of those fundamental factors is the chart, is the technical level. So the number I really want you to watch is 110,000, okay? That's the real number. It gets a nice round number. It's a nice psychological number. I mean, technically speaking, the important level is around 108 and change. But if you can clear that 110, I think we're going to have a big run after that. So if you already own Bitcoin and you've been tempted to sell, I'd encourage you, sit tight with it for a little while longer. And if you haven't bought Bitcoin yet and you have been on the fence, hey, listen, you might end up chasing this, Bitcoin if you don't act pretty soon. So I guess I would encourage you guys, if you can manage to, start acquiring some Bitcoin now before the next big push comes. In the comment section below, let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Ed Anderson, live from Minnesota, signing out.
Copy that.